Let's finally give the people a chance to enact term limits by putting that constitutional amendment on the 2016 ballot and let the voters decide.
There are very few ideas we can take from federal government, and this is one of them. We need to pay attention to what these wacky Martians called right-wing conservatives like me call core constitutional principles. Patricia Bellock joins us now, Representative, 47th. She may disagree with some of the things I've said, but I wanted to draw attention to the very American importance of term limits and how we can trace the warp and weft of term limits throughout our history as a nation and corroborate it or correlate it with the general cause of freedom and proper representation of our politicians, by our politicians of the people. Patricia, welcome to 1590 WCGO. It was an interesting speech, and I can't wait to hear what you think of it.
Well, I thank you for having me, and I thought it was a really, really solid speech, with just an honest assessment of our state's financial situation, and probably one of the most honest ones we've had in the last decade.
Yes, it was quite brave, wasn't it? He made a basic comparison, all of which are based on facts, by the way. I know I hear that you are a mathematical thinker and you're a careful speaker. Can you predict any problems with facts laid out in his speech? Nothing sort of set off any of my alarms. Everything he said I had seen published in such places as the Tribune. What do you make of that?
Oh, right. I think that most of the facts that he had in there were accurate, but he did put a lot out there, and I agree with all of it because every single thing he talked about is extremely important to the main object, I feel, right now in his administration is to get the economy of our state back on track and create jobs, improve the economy, and bring jobs back to Illinois. His figure that he pointed out has been pointed out several times in the last 6 months about how many Illinoisans have left our state, not only just for jobs, but just the frustration of the overregulation and the overtaxation on property tax, which he pointed out today.
I was very interested, our guest, by the way, Representative Patty Bellock. Is it all right to call you Patty? I feel.
Oh, absolutely.
Sure. I hear it done in the news, but I don't want to call you rude.
That's great.
But by the way, your website is excellent, and it's www.repbellock.com, BELLOCK.com. I know you were on a assigned committee for Medicaid reform, and I thought very brave was his nodding to the extraordinary problem, and I don't want to use the corruption word, but let's call it a problem of state Medicaid funds from hospitals which are fed cleverly by contributions from government, which return to government by way of contributions, and sort of a clearly at least back-scratching, protectionist enterprise. You may or may not disagree with that, but I'm interested to know what we can do and where we go from here, because the numbers, as Governor Rauner said, are really astonishing. So tell us more, Patty.
The numbers in Medicaid or in the whole budget?
Yes, the budget.
Oh, the budget. The numbers are astonishing, and I worked wholeheartely on the Medicaid reforms. That's just part of it. But what I tell people, our general revenue is around $34.5 billion. That's without the federal funding. So when you take a look at it, the Medicaid is around $17 billion, education is around $7 billion, and then the pension payment is around $7 billion. Those three numbers alone bring you over almost $31 billion, which doesn't leave you much to pay and do everything he was talking about. And that's why it's important, as he pointed out, that we have to prioritize the most important things that we need to get done this year. And, when he talked about, the combining the Office of the Comptroller and Treasurer, that's a no-brainer. We've talked about that for several years. We've tried to pass legislation on it, and I think maybe that will happen this year. Workers' comp reform. In order to bring jobs back to Illinois, he made the comparison of how that small company moved from Illinois into Indiana and pays one-third of that. So property tax relief, that's the number one issue throughout all of Illinois, especially in the area where I live. And so he's trying to address the major issues of what the Illinois taxpayers are talking about.
Do you see campaign contributions as big a problem as they are evidenced in his State of the State speech by Governor Rauner?
Yeah, I definitely think that there needs to be, there has been, in the years I've been here, there's been reform, but there definitely needs to be a lot more reform. I was somewhat surprised when I was reading the speech at the same time that the issue regarding union donations has been federal law since 1947. That was surprising to me. I didn't realize that. So, yes, I think that they have been working since the day he was elected. His PowerPoint that was given to us is unbelievable when you really read it. And as I said, and I heard you saying before, facts are facts. And that's why it's important that we now have an administration that is going to face those facts and do something about it. So he has a broad agenda. And I think that he was going to have a lot of assistance because people love the state of Illinois. They love the core values of the people from the Midwest, the agricultural economy, the city of Chicago, and we want to bring that back. And I think he's the right man at the right time to do just that and take on those tough challenges, which aren't going to be easy, and there are going to be a lot of hard votes.
Yes. Our guest, by the way, Patricia Bellock, representative from the 47th. Born in Chicago, graduated from St. Norbert College with a BA in History and American Government, rated top 5 Illinois legislators on business issues by manufacturers here in Illinois, and recognized for her landmark legislation requiring mental health parity, MRSA infection control, that's methicillin-resistant Streptococcus aureus, improving Amber Alert systems, which we use all the time, seemingly more during the summer than the winter, to rescue our kids, and strengthening child support. I'm interested in your take, given your work, on the attitude of the speech and the theme of empowerment. I know you're a creative thinker, and you have a reputation, Ms. Bellock, for getting things done. Are we working toward a more empowered populace here in Illinois and a more successful budget? And are you on track with Governor Rauner's methodologies?
Absolutely. I think that he already has shown how he's trying to empower people, and his work toward actually walking into the speech, and I won't mention the name, one of the legislators said, I've heard more on the other side of the aisle. He said, I've heard more from this governor than I heard from the governor on my side in the last 4 years. So he is reaching out to everyone. Every single time I've gotten a suggestion from somebody, I passed it on to his transition committees, and a lot of them, when I saw the report of the transition committees, some of those suggestions were in there. So I think they were very thorough, and I think that people are really feeling empowered that they're going to be a part of making some of these decisions or giving input into it. And that's the most we can ask from him, is to get the input. And then he also, I'm extremely impressed by the people that he's putting in the cabinet, that he's reaching out to people, not people that, he may just be friends with, that a lot of people do, reaching out to people who are accomplished in these areas from other states or well-known, resumes in that area, whether, they be living here or out there. And it's very impressive, I think. I think it's a great new start. It's going to be almost like restructuring the entire government with all the heads of the new agencies, which will be difficult, in these next few weeks and months, getting to know the people working with them, but they're all on board. And I think that also empowers people, that there's a lot of new thinking, new thoughts, and an agenda just for the people. It isn't an agenda, as he said, just towards elections, re-elections. It's an agenda towards helping the people of the state of Illinois.
It's interesting. The word empowerment is a very fungible. It is a nebulous word. I believed he used it to put on the armor of his opponents while addressing them using the language that is not often used by big business types. He being a big business
Right.
type, I felt cleverly using that word. And then to hear you use that as a legislator, say, yes, we legislators do feel empowered by the bipartisanship he proposes. By the way, he mentioned this.
Last November, voters made it clear they want bipartisan government. They want a government where people come together to solve problems and get things done. They don't want partisan bickering, political infighting, or personal conflict to get in the way of serving the needs of the families of Illinois. All of us who are elected to do a job, to deliver real results, to serve the people of Illinois to the best of our ability.
And I think the case was well made that we are all better served by a hard look at where we are today. I appreciated, by the way, Ms. Bellock, that he did not place blame. It wasn't one of those speeches where, oh, we're in this terrible place because of my opponents or because of the Democrats, etc.
Mm-hmm. I thought that was very positive also.
Right, and to me, that's a show of character and a willingness to sit down and get things done and actually do what he says he's going to do, which is, as he said, just there to get away from the bickering. I wish you the very best, and we are your supporters, as you know. Patricia Bellock, the 47th, born in Chicago, deputy minority leader, budget negotiator for the House Republican caucus. Joining us from Springfield, I believe, where you just saw the speech. And the website is www.repbellock, BELLOCK, of course, .com, repbellock.com. Thank you very much, Patty. Look forward to having on again.